Now presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Thursday night show. I hope you guys can hear me because I am camping out in the middle of nowhere on my cell phone. So if you can't hear it very well, there's nothing I can do about it. So sorry. Anywho, what's this show about? It's about my son, Erik Medhus, who took his life at the age of 20, sadly. And he's here to help you guys navigate through your human experience, a bittersweet experience very often. Today, we have as Erik's translator, as always, Kim Babcock from www.kimbabcock.net. And we'll share that information with you again toward the end of the show. But today, we have a special guest. Before taking callers, guest and acclaimed comedian Joey Herman will, together with Erik, maybe, our boy Erik, discuss the power of the most important thing in the world. What's that, Joey?
It's love.
Hell yay. Go for it.
Love for yourself first. I know in our society that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people trying to tell you what love is, but the truth of the matter is love is really, 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 really simple. It's so simple that once you discover it, you have to realize that it's like, wow, it's that simple. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have about love, and I'm here to share my love, and I'm just honored to be here. So thank you, Kim, and thank you, Elisa. And thank you, all the listeners, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's awesome to have you on here, Joey. And we got to meet you and have you in Houston this past weekend. And it was awesome because you had a lot of really valid points that you were able to bring up with the guests about love and its infinite nature. So can you maybe speak to that a little bit and your experience?
Well, my experience is that I've always been on this search of finding out what love was, and I took about 30 years to discover what love means to me. And the reason I'm on this show is to let everyone know that 30 years is way too long. I could have figured it out in 1 second if I would have known the information I know now. So where I want to start with love is I want everyone to just know that everything that exists is love. And the thing is, I know it might be hard to focus on that with everything that's going on in the world, but the key to love is understanding yourself. We're all the same, yet we're all different. Like, we all bleed red, but not all of us like cheeseburgers. So it's an understanding who you are over time, or not time, because time isn't real, where you can understand what love means to you. And the hardest thing I found out about love is that it's really easy, and that was the hardest thing for me to realize.
That's so true because, you know, Erik has taught me so many times over to look at us as humans. We are conditional beings, and the conditions that we're used to are all tied into complexity. We're used to things being difficult, and when it's simple,
and ego, tied into ego too.
Yeah, and when it's simple, we have a hard time accepting simplicity. We always try to convince ourselves, but there's got to be more. There's got to be more than this. But when it really boils down to it, the true essence of love is simple, and we have to allow that simplicity to find ourselves in that state of pure divine love. But the ego gets in the way.
What's simpler than love being all there is, and that we are that energy called love?
Well, the thing is this. There's a lot of schools out there that teach you have to do this and this and this and this to reach love. And I'm here to tell you that there are no rules to love. You create your own rules. So instead of listening to your neighbor or listening to a religion or listening to the TV or listening to anyone, I highly recommend that everyone just meditate. And you can meditate in many different ways. You can close your eyes and breathe. You can say a mantra over and over. You can do whatever. You can garden. You can crochet. You can do whatever. I highly recommend that everyone just take a moment to be by themselves. The scariest thing that people have to face in life is that feeling that they're alone, but you're never alone. You're always surrounded by something outside of you. So if anyone does anything from listening to me talk tonight, all I ask is that you take a moment, just one moment. It doesn't matter. That moment could last forever, but I want you to start with one moment, because there's a lot of people out there that say you need to meditate for 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day, and all I can say is this. You meditate whenever you want, but at least do it one moment every day. If you can start with doing it one moment a day, and if you lie to yourself and tell yourself that you don't have time to take one moment for yourself, then you have bigger problems than I can help you with, because if you can't make one moment for yourself, how do you expect to love yourself?
That's true.
A lot of
just takes
people don't
one moment.
A lot of people don't feel worthy of love.
I'm not asking you to feel worthy of love. That's something that you can figure out later. I'm talking about taking baby steps. I'm talking about taking an action of meditation for 1 second a day. Now, I already know that in 2020 I'm the President of the United States. I know that. And the main reason why I know that is because I've been a meditator for 13 years straight. And I can tell you this. I went to doctors. I dealt with severe depression for 8 years, and doctors put me on medication. They told me this and this was wrong with me. And then I went and I meditated for a 10-day retreat, and I got rid of my depression in 10 days. I'm not saying that you have to go and sit for 10 days right now. All I'm saying is take a moment for yourself. I know everyone has a busy schedule. Just turn off the TV, do whatever, close your eyes, take a moment for yourself, and ask yourself what the answers should be. I know a lot of people are calling in today to get answers about other things, but you'll get to a state in your life where the only person's opinion that matters is yourself. Now, people think that might be selfish, but I got to tell you guys, the word selfish it really means to fill yourself up with self. So I'm telling everyone who's listening to this radio show, whoever listens to it, it's okay to be selfish, because you can't share something with someone unless you are it. So fill up with yourself, be selfish, stand up for yourself, don't care about what anyone thinks. That might be hard for some, but as you slowly but surely become full of self, you'll be able to share every part of yourself freely without worries of not having enough.
Well said.
That's so true.
Well said. So what do you tell the person who does not love themselves, besides taking a moment to check into their heart?
Listen, I have so much love for everyone that when someone meets me, they don't say anything. They just smile because they think I'm crazy. And the truth is I am crazy because I'm in love with myself. And if you think that being in love with yourself is crazy, I'm the craziest person you know. The thing is, I don't give people the opportunities. I don't give people the opportunities not to smile, because whatever people do or say or whatever, if someone wants to, I know people talk about high and low vibrations. You get to a point in life where there is no high or low. It's just all the same. And I can honestly tell you that the way I was able to reach that state of knowing that was the first time I dropped LSD.
All right, tell us about that. Eric would love it.
Well,
I'd love to hear this story.
I took LSD for the first time when I was like 33, and I was at my girlfriend's apartment, and I walked outside, and everything became equal energy. I saw everything as equal energy, and it was mind-blowing. I saw everything radiating at the same energy, the tree, me, the apartment, the wood. It wasn't like it talked to me, but I saw the energy was equal, and then I realized that if I open my eyes, everything is my teacher. I'm a student of everything. I'm looking at a tree right now. It's so still. It's my teacher of stillness. I'm looking at a building right now. It's so still. It's my teaching of stillness. The key is this, and I learned this from listening to your show, Elisa, is that you have 4 bodies. You have a mind, you have a body, you have a soul, and you have a heart. Now, the fact is, the 4-leaf clover is the sign of luck. So if you need to look at something, look at the 4-leaf clover. It has 4 perfect leaves of 4 bodies, and that's why it's considered lucky, because that's what you are. If you can still 4 parts of your bodies and make them all equal and balanced, you'll have no problems making any decisions, because your free will will become universal will. And universal will is what everyone wants, which is just love.
That's true. Like you said, everything is love.
We can go about the 4 bodies. The the soul body is perfection. The soul is perfect. The soul knows it's perfect. So that one's taken care of. They're all perfect. But in terms of this, the key is stilling the mind. So if you meditate and you're thinking thoughts, it's okay to think thoughts. It's okay to think negative thoughts, if you want to call them negative or positive thoughts, because if you can observe that thought and know that it's just a thought, then you won't take the action to lead to it. There's nothing wrong with thinking about anything. You can think about anything. Now, if you're aware of your thought, that's different. The goal of meditation is to bring your subconscious or your unconscious to the conscious, where they all become the same one. So your subconscious behaviors are conscious behaviors, and that's where I think acting. I'm an actor by trade, so as an actor, you need to know how your body moves, and you become different characters. So if you can become aware of what your body is doing while you speak or while you're doing anything, then you'll allow yourself to be more conscious. The way to be more conscious with your mind is by meditating. The way to be more conscious with your body is by meditating. The way to be more conscious with your heart is meditating. The way to be more conscious with your soul is meditating. And then once you meditate and you use it as a daily practice, you don't have to ask anyone else for help. You go inside of yourself for the answers, because you are God, because you are everything.
We have all the answers. You're right.
We do.
Meditation does not mean you have to do this special thing and breathe a certain way or think, or empty your mind completely. To me, it's more about observing. Like, for example, when you meditate, you can observe what's going on in your heart. A lot of people don't tap into their heart, their intuition. They may tap into their mind, their little monkey minds that are having all sorts of thoughts about, did I turn the iron off or whatever. But it's more about observing what's going on in your environment, within you, etc.
Well, the greatest thing about meditation is there are no rules. I've studied with many teachers, and all my teachers, I thank them so much. But there's a lot of dogma attached to religion and meditation where you have to say the word Om. And to be honest with you, I change the words. So, for example, when they go Om in meditation, I go home. Or I change whatever I want to do. Well, I'm not a rebel. It's what suits me. It's my practice. No one's going to tell me. I know you're funny. No one's going to tell me how to live my life unless I want them to. So all I can ask people to do is, instead of asking others what they should do in their lives, because if you ask someone what you should do, they're going to give you what they should do, because their life patterns are different than yours. The most important thing is recognizing your patterns. I've done things in my life over and over and over again until I realized what I was doing. But I didn't have to do that. I chose to do that. One of my good friends, Michael Beckwith of Agape International Spiritual Center in Culver City, said to me, he said, you have two choices in life. You came here as a reincarnation to learn lessons. You can learn your lessons with grace, or you can learn your lessons with pain and suffering. And I recently, on the way to your event, I got pulled over in Houston for possession of marijuana, because in California it's legal. And as I was driving to Houston, I kept on saying, I learned all my lessons gracefully. I learned all my lessons gracefully. So when I got pulled over and arrested, I knew I was okay. An hour into being arrested, the cop came up to me and said, you never told me you were a comedian. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm a comedian too. We have 7 Facebook friends in common. And he let me go. He didn't give me back my weed. I made a Facebook video asking for my weed back, but he didn't give it back to me. But it was only because I asked to learn that lesson gracefully. So you are going to learn lessons in Earth. We're all growing. We're all expanding. I still have so much to learn in life. But I always ask to learn those lessons gracefully. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to have any pain. So since I'm the creator, I get to choose everything. Now, there might be outside events happening, but I have the perception of how I want to see it. Now, one thing that's amazing is I've lessened my vocabulary. There's only 2 phrases I use for my whole life. I love you and thank you in every situation. I know sometimes it's difficult. But if I say thank you and I love you to every situation, I learn that lesson very quickly. Now, you were talking about the ego. Now, what I want to explain is there is no good or bad. There's only good or bad in the second dimension of the polarities. And the reason there's good and bad is to teach you that there is no good and bad. So what you got to focus on is...
Oh, my God, that's so amazing you said that. Let me tell you, Joey, that's really amazing you said that, because when we interviewed Jesus, that's what he said. The reason that children need to be taught that there is right and wrong, the difference between right and wrong, is so that they can learn that there is no right and wrong. But go ahead.
Yes. So the thing is this. The only reason there's right and wrong is because you're judging yourself. So why don't you stop judging yourself? Listen. My whole life, everyone tried to put me in a box. Are you gay or straight? Are you this or that? And you know what? I'm everything. If you want to judge me, if you want to say I'm weird, I know based on the law of mirrors that you're just commenting on yourself. So whenever someone says something to me, they're basically just talking about themselves. But I know that might be hard for some people to take in because their ego wants them to be better. But listen, why do you want to compare yourself to anyone? You're so uncomparable. Nothing can compare to you. So why are you limiting your beliefs by comparing yourself to the person next to you? That person's perfect, and you're perfect. Now, if I wanted to compare myself to someone, that's just a lot of energy. I'm the laziest person you'll ever meet. The last thing I want to do is waste my energy.
Well, I'm not going to invite you over for dinner because you're not going to help with the dishes.
Hey, doing dishes for you would not be a waste of energy. It would actually help me gain energy because when you serve others, you actually get more energy. That's the answer that you were looking for.
But do you unload the dishwasher?
I can do anything, sweetheart. But the thing is this.
Soaking technique. Do you use a soaking technique where you have a grungy pot and you just fill it with hot soapy water and you wait until somebody else cleans it? Are you that kind of person? That's the important thing.
Sweetheart, when I went and sat Vipassana, for everyone who doesn't know, there's an organization called Vipassana. The website's www.dhamma.org. Now, when I was 24 years old, that's the center I went to. They're located all across the world. They house you, they feed you, they teach you how to meditate for 10 days. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I went with blind faith, and I can tell you this, that when I volunteer there, I wash dishes because I like to wash dishes. So your dishes will be so clean that you would probably not even know we ate off of them.
I love pulling weeds and washing dishes. All right, we don't have very much time left, Joey, but one thing I do want to ask you is how can we as individuals be more loving toward each other? We understand a little bit about how we can be more loving with ourselves, but how can we love one another?
Well, the answer is you just answered it. In order to be more loving to others, you have to love yourself first. That means make time every day, a second a day to meditate, and that means I in my journey I went the opposite. The reason why it took me so long was I was so giving that I forgot about myself. Now that's a crutch that caused me extra time. All I can say is this: if you have the time to help others, help others. If you don't have the time to help others, help yourself, because you have time to do something. Now, I understand people have busy schedules. They have husbands, they have kids, they have jobs, they have all those things. But none of those things matter if you can't take care of yourself. So focus on yourself. Be selfish. Have people tell you you're the selfish person they've ever met, and you know you're on the right track.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take any time to smile to a stranger, you know. There are little things you can do to connect.
But that's you. That's you. That's not everybody. So there's no black and white. There's a lot of gray. All I want to do is tell people to focus on themselves. When you focus on yourselves, you're actually helping someone else. When you're focusing on someone else, you're actually helping yourself. I'm just saying that if you focus on yourself, it's the easier road. If you focus on helping other people when you haven't had things figured out for yourself, it's a longer road. It took me 30 years because that's what I did. And I'm telling you, if I had it over, I wouldn't do it differently. But 30 years is a long time. I probably could have shortened that down into, I don't know, a week.
Yeah, you should have read the Cliff Notes, you know? Save a lot of time.
Well, I mean, I didn't know any better, and I'm not going to be upset at myself because those 30 years were.
My journey was longer than yours, I think. Not that that's better or worse, but Yeah, I totally understand. I totally get it. But we have to go through what we have to go through, you know?
I don't know if you have to go through what you have to go through. That's an excuse. You go through what you choose you want to go through. So if you want to go through something, you're going to manifest it. So there are no rules. All I can tell people is please meditate. If you have any questions and you want my help, I'm willing to help you. I love you. I'm happy. I don't need anything in life. I'm just very happy and honored to be on the show. I didn't even know this was going to happen. I literally just called in to ask a question about my mom, and now we're all best friends, and I'm going to be the president of the United States. I already am, actually, in 2020. And my only thing is that I want everyone to know that love is the only thing that's real. And you have to focus on love. And if you don't know what love is, define it for yourself. Make up your own definition. Don't listen to other people because everyone has a different definition for things. And as you open yourself up and you make yourself available, I mean, there's not one person I meet on the streets, whether they're a homeless person or a billionaire. Every person I come in contact with, I learn something from. So keep yourself open. And if you don't agree with what someone has to say, at least listen to them. Because you know what? There's something underneath everything that's a message that you need to pick up because it's in your life.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Joey. How can people get in touch with you? How can they find out more about Joey Herman?
You can email me at Joey Herman, JoeyHerman, PREZ, Prez 2020 at gmail.com. And I ask you to vote for me in 2020 because I actually want you to vote for yourself. And if you don't vote for yourself, then vote for me. I could be the second best candidate to you. I really would hope that one day we won't need a president. It'll just be all of us knowing that we're that powerful.
There we go. I love that. So, Erik, what do you have to say to Joey?
He says,
Erik, I love you.
He's been kind of chattering this whole time, kind of silently taking it all in, but here and there he kind of makes remarks back and forth. He taps on his chest, so that's his way of saying he loves you. So he's passing his love along to Joey. And he says it's your passion that he appreciates. It's your passion to get people to realize, essentially what you're trying to help people understand is love has no definition. It's everything and nothing at the same time. So you've realized that. You're trying to help other people realize that too. And he says when you look back on your last day, when it's your final hour, you can't take anything with you. You can't take anything with you. The only thing you can take with you is love. So make sure you know that first. And that will be the very consciousness or the very place that you continue, where you really don't die after all. And he's kind of, when he says that, I mean, he's coming through with a really soft, sweet, compassionate tone with complete sincerity.
Baby.
And he has his hands like on his temple. You know how if you were to do like my mind was blown and you kind of like throw your hands away from your head? That's what he's saying, like when he's talking about when you realize that you don't pass away after all, you just change forms. But it's through love and it's in love that you remain conscious through it all. So he's trying to thank Joey because essentially what Joey's trying to get all of the listeners to realize is love is unconditional. Doesn't matter how, who, when, or where. It doesn't matter. It's unconditional. And just like Joey was saying, you have to know it and host it and be it before you can give it. You can't give a gift. You can't give anything you don't have. So, essentially, that's what Joey's trying to help you guys understand.
Exactly. Joey, do you have a website?
I don't have a website per se, but just have everyone email me. Listen, I really open it up to every single person. If you want to give that email out if you want to write it on like on a bathroom wall, I'm cool with it. I'm only here to share what I know, and my dream for you is that whatever I know.
Email Joey for
Herman Prez 2020 at gmail.com. Listen, but all I really wish for you all is that you all reach this state of consciousness right now. And so I will do whatever I can to help you, but you have to help yourself first. So I can only do so much for you. I can't be your savior. You can only be your savior. And one thing that really confused me was I was I was raised Jewish but not really religious, and I always didn't understand why everyone looked to Jesus to save them. And then I realized that when I was about to die, I wanted to die, and I turned to someone and I asked the universe to send someone, a friend to me. And Jesus showed up, his spirit. I saw his spirit in like a ball, and the spirit told me that me and him were equals and that I was on the same path that he was. But then I went and studied with a teacher from Yoga West, Guru Singh, and I said, I'm equal to Jesus. He's like, why can't you be infinitely more loving than Jesus? And I said, I guess I can. I'm infinitely more loving than Jesus. And he's like, now good luck trying to teach people that you are. And I'm like, that's easy because everyone's my equal. So you're equally as loving as Jesus times infinity times infinity. And the way I know that is the universe is always expanding, which means that it never ends. So love always expands. So you think that 2,000 years ago love was different? Of course it was, because we have 2,000 years of more technology. So as we go, love will only expand to more stuff. So everyone who's listening to this, everything that exists is infinitely more loving than anything that's ever been created. And once you realize that, you'll be free from all attachments, and the only thing you'll have to worry about is nothing, because you're surrounded by love.
That is a great way to end off. Now, I want to interject, because I think it's the right thing to do, that I'm very grateful for liveparanormal.com for giving us this opportunity and this platform through which to spread a little Erik and Joey love and Kim love. Now we're going to take callers, and I want everybody to just ask one question because we want to take as many callers as possible. So let's start out with somebody from the 407 area code. Hello, how are you doing, and welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? What's your first name, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Orlando, and my name is Lizette.
Oh, hi, Lizette. What you got for Erik?
How you doing? My question mainly as a mother, I was emailing Elisa this morning, and because strange thing happened to me today with her. I have a 21-year-old. That if I was going to say that this is a reincarnated soul of the perfect hippie. This guy is like, he doesn't want to cut his hair. He just be in the house smoking pot. And, he quit school when he was like couple months shy of graduating, and I've been trying to get this kid to do something with his life, pushing it. I took him to the doctors, and he told me they did a couple of tests on him, and he said they had a mild depression, but he doesn't want to take his medication, and every time I try to even, approach him, it's no, leave me alone, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to do anything, leave me alone,
Erik,
leave me alone.
How can you help him? Erik, how can you help him? What should she do? What should he do?
This is what Erik is talking about. He's actually kind of reflecting kind of some of the information that's in my book that I wrote, and it seems like this is what both of you are going through. When you look at a child and trying to raise a child, and we try to steer them in the right direction, and they choose to do their own thing, it's a lesson for both of us. But Erik doesn't like the word lesson. He likes the word experience rather than lesson. So it's an experience for both of us to evolve through. For you, this is about accepting. For him, it's about, we'll go to that in a minute. It's a whole separate journey. It's a whole separate thing. So Erik says first for you to know and understand this whole experience is teaching you acceptance and accepting the situations that you're in, the conditions, the circumstances that you're in, but also on a much deeper level, and he says this with great compassion, not to hurt you or anything, but to realize that we never have permission, and you guys have heard him say this before, we never have permission to change anybody else's journey, because in believing so, we're actually betraying our own self. We're putting our own self in an illusion. So be mindful of that when we want to change someone else's journey and make them be someone or something different. We're really taking away from their authentic experience. We can guide them and give them love and support, but ultimately, the only growth, he says, like the only personal growth in an expanded way. He doesn't even want to say good because there's no such thing as good or bad, but in a way that is expansive at the soul level, is going to be self-realized. So you may push and push and push and say, don't do this, don't do that, you should do this, I think you should do that. But ultimately, he has to realize that for himself. Otherwise, he's going to be living for someone
what
else.
can she do? What can she do? Maybe it's very little, but there's got to be something.
Because what happened is that, I see the time passing, and he already turned 21, and he just like a couple of years here, like doing nothing, time pass, and I'm worried because I know I'm not going to last forever in Earth, and then one day he's going to find himself without even an education or nothing, and it's worrying me, like what's going to happen one day with this kid when, I cannot expect for his brothers to take care of him, and when he's going to realize that he needs to take a step and do something for himself. It's just what worries me.
Eric said that first, in this situation, you must practice surrender, because in engaging and carrying burdens that don't belong to you, you'll make yourself sick. You already have, he says.
I am.
As a mom, of course we want to help, we want to do. So he says it's really hard to try to help someone and support them and help create a shift for them just by talking. He says you can help through doing. So if anything, it's take him to do this or to do that. But ultimately, you can't force him to do anything. So Erik says at some point you're going to have to surrender and let him carry his own burdens. And that's going to be the only real way that he'll wake up. Because ultimately, again, if he's just doing things to please you and make you happy, he's not being true to his actual self. He's not true to his authentic self.
He doesn't do anything even to make me happy. Every time I try to approach him, just leave me alone. Why you don't like my hair? Why you want to change me? Why you want to leave me alone?
Erik says also, this is a level for you. This is a lesson, so to speak, an experience rather, for you to practice acceptance. But I think if you want to see any kind of change, Erik says, for the good or to make things a little bit easier, to validate your son. You might not like that he smokes pot. You might not like the way he wears his hair or whatever it may be, but at least validate him for who he is, because if we're always picking and trying to change them, Erik says, they feel invalid, which they begin to carry and host those thoughts and burdens, then they downward spiral. That's when you see depression consume them. So just validate who he is, how he is, and start there. It's like literally building from the ground up.
So just let him sit in there.
This is probably going to take a lot longer than we have time for on the radio show. And I think it might be a really good idea for you to book a session with Kim or somebody else and talk to Erik a little bit further about that. Well, I hope what you have gotten from this helps you, though.
Yeah,
but
I wish you
we
the
need
best.
to go on to the callers.
Practice surrender.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and I value your advice. And Erik's is just like it's unbelievable, great. This is something that is, I appreciate it, and I value as gold.
Sure. Well, thank you for calling.
I will contact you through your website, and we can set something to talk a little bit longer.
All right.
But I
wishes. I hope it helps.
Lisa, I have the most respect for you and admiration for you forever.
Love you,
it's
baby.
Just like,
thank you so much.
You take care, and best wishes and everything. Hugs and kisses.
Bye-bye.
You too.
You
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, I know what it's like with kids. It's not easy. All right, let's take somebody from the 904 area code. Hi, how are you doing?
Hello.
Are you?
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
What's your first name?
My name is Catherine.
Welcome.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi. Okay, so my question is, I'm a twin, and I was wondering, if there's a reason why souls choose to incarnate together as twins.
Ooh,
I think
question.
I've talked to you before on email. Yeah.
Good question. Eric's mocking you. He's like, so I have a twin, and he's being really silly. It's just his way of flirting, I guess.
It's probably because me and my husband are being really silly right now. I didn't realize it was me and you guys for next year.
He's funny. He's like, I don't care who you are. I got to flirt at least just once. But so the purpose of twins, he's talking about when souls come in, whether identical or not. He says the purpose of twins is he's literally showing. This is a little trippy. Showing it being like the same soul experiencing incarnation, like in this dual sense of having a twin, like having another self. So it's like polarity, but through the same consciousness. So he says if you can, oh God, he goes, oh geez, he goes if you can imagine that, he goes if you can imagine that, I'll give you one, and he held out like a joint, like that's his gift to you.
Oh God.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. But he's so goofy. But so he's saying, I mean, and he's really fired up about this. So he says, twins are, is a soul that incarnates, through two physical bodies to experience the polarities of itself, like in this dual sense, like in this dual sense of time, but blah blah blah. He's like rambling. He goes, well, time is an illusion, so it doesn't really matter. Time, the concept of time doesn't matter, but the incarnation, having two of self and the polarities that one may provide. It's like, he says, those people that have a really rough life where you look at them and you're like, my gosh, what else could they possibly have to deal with in this life? They've had such a hard life because they've stacked.
That's like my life.
He says, yeah, like they stack so much into one incarnation so they can grow and evolve at such a, expand, have all this expansion through this one incarnation. It's kind of like the same purpose with twins, he's saying. They so much expansion comes from having a twin at the soul level. That's oftentimes why people choose to incarnate and have a twin. He says what's really fun is when you have a twin that's the opposite gender. So it's like experiencing self. Oh man, this is really trippy. As male and female at the same time. So if you have a twin that's the opposite gender, he's just kind of rambling about knowing yourself as that person, as that consciousness, and being able. He's like, then we can even get into talking about shifting your consciousness into that person, and then that's when you think, they call you, and you're about to just pick up the phone and call them. That's when you're really, really connected. Vibration.
Yeah, that happens to me and my sister a lot.
Oh, that's cool. I always wished I had a twin, like especially in high school. That'd be fun to date and just play pranks on your boyfriend.
No, we look nothing alike.
Oh, how cool! But yeah, he says it's having polarity of your own self. Like this is your own.
That's interesting.
Another dynamic of self in the same incarnation.
That's good. I hope that helped you.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Really cool question.
Might have to listen to that one a couple of times.
Yeah.
We can do like a whole YouTube session on that. That's pretty cool.
Seriously,
Thanks,
that would be a
guys.
good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, let's get one from this is like 111-111-1111. So I don't know where that's from. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much
Hi.
for taking the call. Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. This is Karen in New York. I wonder what
Hi, Karen from New York.
Hi. I wonder what Erik sees coming up for me, particularly around this apartment situation and a pup.
Ooh. Okay, this is what he shows me. If I heard you right, I mean, he's already responding, so it doesn't really matter if I heard you right or not, but an apartment situation, this is what Erik showed me. Sometimes the messages aren't so sweet and butterflies and rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually showing me, I feel like I had the rug ripped out from under my feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what you're going through, but it seems like you're in a situation where you feel very out of control, very unsettled. It seems like, it seems really difficult, like you're amid chaos. That's what Erik is making me feel and putting me in. So I don't know if this has already happened or if this is going to happen, but it seems like you've gone through rapid changes, or you're going to go through rapid changes where you feel like everything is just out of reach, where it feels difficult to keep up. It just seems like everything feels fleeting. So Erik says, as you go through this, be mindful of what you're experiencing and how, but just be mindful. You don't have to react. He says, so if you do cross paths with feeling like things are just out of your reach all the time, or like why again, or why this now, instead of reacting, just be mindful of what you're learning through the process. Because to me, this is a lesson in, every time I say that word, he like cracks a whip on me. He's like, don't say lesson. He doesn't like lesson. It's an experience to help you evolve in the sense of, I don't even know. It's not. He doesn't want to use the word surrender. I guess just observing, like being in your situation and circumstances and observing yourself through them, and being able to uphold in grace and integrity, so not reacting, staying the same through the changing conditions, because it seems like you either have or you're about to go through a lot of changes. So
any advice for her?
This is a lesson in accepting and letting go. Because when we get so attached to our expectations, our outcomes, and our plans, he's really funny when he says that. He's like, our plans. Yeah, we got plans. I got these plans, you see. This is what I'm going to do. He's like, well, don't forget, we create our reality, and the way we continually react, the way we think, the way we put emotions out, we're constantly creating. So we might have these plans, but if we can be mindful, he says, in what we're doing and how we're reacting energetically at the heart level, that we can be more aware of what we're creating for ourselves. And then he says, then you'll find and put yourself in a more suitable situation.
That's great. Things will work out for you, though, I bet. Won't they, Erik?
Well, does he have any specifics about how this is going to play out? Am I actually going to be pushed out? Or will they work with me and offer me another apartment? They offer me money? Or will I just have to find something on my own? And does he have an idea where it might be?
This is what he's kind of showing me. He says to you, Elisa, yes, ultimately she can, when you shift into a mindful state of consciousness where you don't pick up the emotions and engage through them, you don't have to be, emotional. You can just be the same consistent self throughout any conditions. When you do, he's showing you it's like they come, this is what he shows me, they come knocking at your door and it's almost a sense of I feel like I'm in trouble. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's, some rules or something that they're trying to get you to comply with, no pets or who knows. But then I feel like you alter in some way to appease, maybe your landlord or the people in charge, and then it feels like all kind of settles down. So
good.
Maybe it's hey, you can't have pets, and we're here to tell you can't have pets, or whatever it may be. But then I feel like you come in with a counter offer, and it feels like everything just kind of settles down. So whoever your landlord is or whatever must come in intense. And then I think when you come in with a counteroffer, they just really, tuck the tail and kind of chill a little bit. That's what Erik shows anyway. So.
All right. Good.
But
well, I
just
hope
be
that
mindful.
helps you.
He says, don't get emotional. He says, you have a tendency to just fly off the handle with stuff with your emotions. So be mindful.
Way too emotional, and it's hard to get a handle in myself. I know.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
It did somewhat. Thank you. It's comfortable. Thank you so much.
Bye. All right, let's see if we can take somebody from the age 47 area code. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
My name is Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Welcome.
I'm from Buffalo Grove, Illinois.
Awesome.
What's your question?
Yeah, well, I have progressive primary MS, and I'm bedridden and wheelchair bound. I would like to know what my higher self thinks of me.
Wow, what a good question.
Mhm.
Because I don't know why I'm still here. I mean, I've had this for over 35 years, and very positive. But I want to know what I'm here for.
Sure.
Great question.
Ultimately, Erik says, across the board, one big blanket, we're all here to learn what surrender is. Complete surrender through any and all circumstances, situations, illnesses, and events. We're all here to learn what actual surrender is. When we surrender, we come into divinity. We come back into our divine self. So with you, he says to tell you, he says, I don't want you to think of your higher self as someone different than you, looking down on you, but rather your higher self is you and is in you. And it's just sometimes when we engage the ego, we kind of step into a different vibration, a more dense vibration that's more connected to this earthly realm. So he says, don't think about it like, what does that person think of you or that outside self think of you, but rather higher self is one with you in this. So he says you can ask your heart, and your heart will answer you. That's your high self, your higher self.
I mean, am I here to help other people like myself, or to show other people, be a role model for other people to be like myself?
Erik says that you're here to learn the full capacity of surrender, and then in that, the way that you, because it's we all go through different things, but we can handle it with grace or not. And he says you're handling it with grace. Everything that you've gone through, you're surrendering, one thing after the next. You surrender, you handle it, and in that, that's what teaches other people. And it doesn't even have to be like you with the same kind of illness. You teach other people how to accept and even overcome. You've overcome a lot. He says, Erik says to tell you, you have shown adaptability like nobody's business.
I know.
You have become you find ways to adapt and overcome, and that's what you teach people. That's what you show people. He was like, he keeps wiping his brow. He's like, damn, you should be proud.
Oh, thank you.
So much.
Thank you. I'm in a wheelchair. I consider myself a sit-down comic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
Erik says, I'll sit down with you anytime. He says, I'll sit down with you anytime. He's like, this lady's funny as shit. That's what he says.
Yeah, Erik,
I have a few funny things. My husband tells me I should go on TV so he can turn me off.
That's funny. Well, Erik,
I know.
Dude, help her out, hang with her, keep her company, be her guide, because I think she's still here.
I also would like to know who my guides are.
Absolutely.
Well, we could add that maybe another time, but because we have to kind of close the show. But
well, thank you so much.
Gail.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank
You're welcome. Best wishes to you.
Pleasure is ours. So
thank you,
Erik, so much. I love you, baby. Kim, is there anything you'd like to announce?
He says, I love you, Mom. You know I do. Sure. As you guys know, I still want to continue to travel and connect with each of you guys, because at these events that we do, it's so powerful to talk to you guys and look into your eyes and bring Erik forward for you guys. So that's what my goal is to continue connecting with you guys in person. So the next events coming up are in Columbus, Ohio on the 18th of February. Then after that, I'm going to be heading out to California. There are so many of you West Coast people that have been asking and asking and asking. So here it is, finally in March. March 10th and 11th, I'll be in San Diego and Laguna to hunt you people down and give you some Erikness and some guidance and hopefully, bring you to a better perspective that might empower your life. So check out that information on my website. It's kimbabcock.net. Check out the blog, you guys. The archived information is so helpful, and share it with your friends, too. ChannelingErik.com, Erik spelled with a K. You guys won't believe the information you can find there. So look it up and share it as much as you guys can. And thanks so much for listening. It's always so much fun to be here with you guys every Thursday night.
Yes, it's really one of the highlights of my week. So thank you, LiveParanormal.com, for letting us have this venue to spread that Erikness all over the world. And also I want to remind you guys that we have our YouTube channel, Kim and I do, basically the Channeling Erik YouTube channel. So check that out. Lots of good videos there. Thank you, guys, and y'all have a wonderful weekend.
That's right. Have a good weekend. Enjoy that camping. Have fun.
Oh, I will. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Good night. Love you guys.